If you had come to our school back in 1941, you wouldn't have known you were at Mercy. It was so different. And the ground floor, where the cafeteria is now, was divided by a hall into two rooms. The left room was the cafeteria, and the right-hand room was the gym. And our auditorium, believe it or not, was the ground floor of the Mother House. Now that room you know now is the faculty room, and I think the Macaulay room. Well, that was our auditorium. It was one big room. It had a raised platform on one side for the stage. And instead of beautiful, comfortable seats the way you have now, we had hard, uncomfortable, folding iron chairs. How wonderful it is for me to be back in this auditorium. You know, there's a very close bond between the auditorium and myself. The auditorium was being built when I was a senior. And every day after school, we went over to see what they had done during the day. In fact, we could have told you how many bricks were in every wall of that auditorium. We watched it so closely. I became a Sister of Mercy, September 1941. And the auditorium was finished, blessed, and open for business, September 1941. It's not a beautiful school that makes Mercy the wonderful one that it is. It's the spirit that has invaded it since the very beginning and has lingered through all these years. A spirit that's made of joy, of caring for everyone, and most of all, the spirit of knowing that God is always with you. This Mercy spirit was instilled into us by our faculty when we came to Mercy back in the 30s and the 40s. They were a group of nuns that were smart, they were caring, they were funny, and they were holy. And they taught us the lesson that Mercians didn't always take, they also gave. We give to our family, we give to the community, we give to the school. But giving became a big part of our life, and it has extended through all these years, and it still is very visible in the work that you kids do. When I was sent here to teach, I made it my mission to instill that spirit into all the girls that I had. On the outside wall of this wonderful building is the name Dismas. Dismas was a thief. He was a thief and a revolutionary. And he and his cohort, whose name was Gestus, were finally arrested, sent to court, and were convicted and were sentenced by the Roman judge to the most painful and the most shameful punishment that they only gave to the worst criminals that came through the court system, and that was death by crucifixion. They went down out of their cells, down to the street, they got their crosses to carry, and they noticed there was a third man to be crucified. And they found out that his name was Jesus from Nazareth. Dismas thought it was familiar, that name, Jesus from Nazareth. And he thought, yes, that's the great prophet, the one that's been talking, the one that's been helping people, loving them, curing them of illness, even raising them from the dead, and performing magical things with bread and fish. What is he doing here? How could the Romans possibly have punished him for something that was so bad that the punishment was crucifixion? And they walked up to Calvary. They were nailed to the cross. The crosses were upended in the ground. And the three of them were there. People walking back and forth on the thoroughfare were mocking them, mocking Christ. Come on, you were the Son of God. Why are you hanging there? Why don't you come down? Come down and we'll all believe in you. And guests just joined right in. Get us off this cross. Let us go home. Take this suffering away from us. This is too hard. Come on, if you're God, do something. And Dismas was just there listening. He was suffering too. The pain was intense from the nails, but he was listening and looking. And Jesus was there, so calm, so wonderful. And Dismas heard Jesus say, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing." And Dismas thought, how could anybody forgive men who had done such a terrible thing to them? He is truly a wonderful person. And Dismas said to Gestas, "Be quiet, stop saying those things. We deserve what we got. But this man doesn't deserve it. He is innocent. He is wonderful." And Dismas said, "Lord, Lord." And Jesus turned to look at him, turned his tired, weary, hurting head. And Dismas said, "Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus said, "Surely I say to you, this day you will be with me in paradise." And what had been definitely the worst day in Dismas's life became the best. I mean, just think what a privilege it was to die with Jesus. And even more, to walk into paradise with him. You know, what could be more wonderful? And when I entered the convent, and when we became a Sister of Mercy, we had to do away with our baptismal name, mine was Elizabeth, and take the name of a saint we admired. And I took the name Dismas because I admired this man. He had the courage, the only one mentioned in the Bible that had the courage to verbally defend Jesus on the cross. And because he had that courage and such a strong faith blossomed in him, I admired him very much. And that's the reason I took the name.